Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. With yesterday being Labor Day, this week we're spending time each day exploring the kinds of work people in Bible times did. But more, we're looking at the idea of vocation, that each of us is called into our occupations and should do them in service to our neighbor and in honoring God. Today we want to look at potters, carpenters, and masons. The making of pottery was one of the most important trades in Bible times. Large jars were needed to carry water and to store oil, honey, and other foods, and they didn't have many other materials that were affordable or that worked well. And because clay jars easily broke, there was a continual need to replace them, and thus a continual need for potters. Even then, the broken pieces of pottery called potsherds were often still used by the people. Isaiah describes people using potsherds to carry hot coals from the fire, as ladles for dipping out water or stew, or even as drinking cups. Potsherds were also used to record business deals and transactions. Job used a potsherd to scrape his sores. And on Masada, the names of those who died in battle with the Romans were written on potsherds. But the most significant reference to potters in the Bible is found in Jeremiah 18. Jeremiah saw a potter and spoke of how the potter forms and reshapes the clay. Just so, God forms and reshapes us according to God's will. Verse 6 says, "Just like the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel." We belong to God, ready to be shaped and molded as God chooses. Carpenters were also a vital part of Bible society. Throughout the Bible, a variety of carpenter's tools are mentioned: lines, pencils, planes, compasses, axes, hammers, nails, and saws originally made from sharpened flint stones placed in a row, and then later there were metal saws. That all these are mentioned in the Bible shows not only how needed the carpenter was and how prevalent a carpenter's work was, but also how God speaks to us through everyday things. These tools would be used to make yokes for oxen, plows, tables, chairs, benches, chests, wooden locks, keys, and sandals, frames for doors, and beams for roofs. Since most occupations were passed down from father to son, and since Joseph was a carpenter, it's very likely that Jesus had those skills too, and then left the shaping of wood on the carpenter's bench to shape lives through the gospel. Masons were needed in Bible times just like they are today. Masons shaped stones and used them to build walls. They also became proficient in building arches to support buildings. The prophet Amos refers to a plumb line, which masons use to make sure a wall is vertical and straight, and Amos used it to refer to God measuring us the same way to see if we are faithful and true. Ezekiel refers to a measuring reed, which masons used to help lay the foundations of a building in a straight line. And Jesus speaks of masonry when he says, "The stone that the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone." Buildings have cornerstones, a strong, large stone on which the structure depends. Cornerstones give the wall strength and hold the structure together. Just like Christ is the cornerstone of the church and of the faithful life. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.